Hey, welcome back to the Business of Applications. This is a series of videos that I'm working with my class on how to make your business thrive using applications. And so this is a 7-part series, and we're in part 1 right now, which is about the motivations of building an app. But you can see that there are other chapters that we're going to cover here, so if you like what you're seeing here, make sure you subscribe. My name is Shad Sluter, and I'm a professor of computer science and software development at Grand Canyon University. So please join my class here as we learn the business of apps. So in this video, we're talking about the idea of finding a niche in the market. And so since it's probably pretty hard to compete against the really big mega apps, we need to find something that makes sense for you. And so there's some strategies in this video for making your product work. So let's talk about a product niche. What's inside of it? Well, when you think of a niche in nature, you think of something where there is little competition. And so that's what we're trying to find here in your market, is to see where there is unmet needs. Also, make sure that there is a market. So you might have a great idea because nobody else is doing it, but there's a good reason. It's because nobody wants it. And so you have to find an overlap here between what people want, what's not being met, and then also it would be nice to make some money to be able to pay for your app. And so where these three intersect, we would find a niche. Now, these are obviously hidden because if that was a problem that everyone knew about, then there would be an app in that niche already. And so what we're trying to do is figure out where you can find your niche. Now, the word niche usually comes from biology. So when you think of a place where an animal lives, where there are few competitors and that is able to thrive. And so that is the idea of finding somewhere where no one will bother you. And so if you think of the dung beetle, this is a great example of a niche where nobody seems to want all the dung that's rolling around on the savanna in Africa, except for these beetles. And they've got it all to themselves. So if your business is collecting dung, then there aren't a lot of competition for you. So here's what it looks like in the market. So if you hear somebody say, "We are the Uber of," or "We are the Amazon of," you've got this mega leader in the category, and you are trying to do similar things, but in a smaller category. So here's an example. So this was something I found on Reddit in the app ideas thread. So TaskRabbit is one of those service apps where you can find somebody that's willing to work on something that you're willing to pay for, and then TaskRabbit takes a cut. And so they said, hey, there's an unmet need here, a personal beauty care, and so perhaps this is an idea. Wow, that's an idea. So maybe you could develop it. It would take an entire business, of course, but get started. So one way that you can find a niche is to see if there are new areas opening up that weren't there before. And so that's called following the trends. So if you were to just do Google Trends, you can find what's going on month by month, day by day, or maybe over a longer period of time, such as what people are searching for in the year. So for instance, 2020 was a year where these were the items that were trending. They didn't appear before, and then they showed up. So maybe you could come up with an idea that way. More than likely, most of these are just ideas that are in the media. So what's a better way for finding a trending use pattern for mobile apps? So I did some Google searching to find out what trends are happening in mobile applications in general. So look at here. Here's 4 trends that are shaping 2020. So this deals with technology. So the first trend is they see that PCs are still in place. And what's the next one here? Number 2, wearable ownership is growing. Oh, okay, so there's an opportunity. Do you want to make something with a watch or glasses? So it looks like that's on the trend upward. How about this one? The smart home market is growing. So connecting your devices, that's kind of an IoT thing. So is there an app opportunity there? So I know for sure that in the Canyon Ventures section of the university where I teach, there are companies that are in this market. What did you say Canyon Ventures was? It's the entrepreneur startup section where businesses come and recruit students to work for them. So these are new companies and they're growing. So smart home market is one thing that I've noticed that was over there. Let's see what else is here. Gaming gear is busy. Well, 2020 was the year of the pandemic, and so gaming was a major major growth area. So maybe those are some things that you could find as trends. So Google places like this to see if you can learn something about what's coming. So here's another site that I found that had something about trends and mobile development. So here we got 15 of them. Let's see if there's anything that we could follow as a trend. Here's the trend that says IoT is growing. So application integration looks like the trend is going to continue off into the future. Apps for foldable devices. Oh, I don't have a foldable device, but maybe that's on the future. 5G. Can you take an app and take advantage of faster internet connectivity? How about number 4? Wearable devices. That sounds like a previous blog item that we saw before. Beacon technology. So beacon technology, what in the world is that? It looks like we can have down here a description that says clients install this app, and when they go near another place where there's a beacon, they get a notification. I'm kind of skeptical that that will actually be a trend. I really don't want people annoying me any more than they are, but hey, they say it is. Mobile commerce, well, that's kind of like a given. Artificial intelligence, okay, so that's pretty much a good trend. Mobile wallets, augmented reality, I would bet on this one as a trend. And let's see, chatbots, superior app security. I'll vote for that one. Predictive analysis, so that way we can have more AI. And then on-demand mobile apps. I kind of like that. So the idea is do some research, figure out what the trends are, and then see if you can come up with something that is going to fill a niche before everyone else jumps in on it. Here's another idea. If you can find an app or a process or a game or something that exists and add a feature to it, add a twist and make it yours. So here's an example. Words with Friends. It's really just Scrabble, but then it's added the multiplayer dimension to it, some social media, and you've got yourself an app that is still very strong and popular. Then you could also say, well, maybe Words with Friends just took a regular board game, but you could also go look around at apps that you know exist. So you look at one app and you look at another app and you think, there's some overlap between those. What are the features that I could do? So if I could combine app A and B, then I get what's called the twist. And so you can invent a new app based on what you've already seen others do. So really that's what a lot of inventions are. It's just combining two other people's ideas into your own. So there's hardly anything that's actually original. Here's an example of combining two apps. So Waze. You haven't used Waze? It's basically a map like Google Maps, and it allows you to talk to other drivers. So you can plant a little pin on the map that says, hey, there's a police waiting here to give you a ticket. And so essentially what they've done is take Google Maps and they've added some social media enhancement to it and kind of made it a gamification, so you can win points by taking trips. Whoever thought that driving would be that much fun? But anyway, Waze was purchased by Google for probably billions of dollars, and so it was a successful spin-off of just the standard driving app. Now, if you're trying to find a niche, then maybe the most obvious advice of all is do your own thing. What that means is, do you have a specialty, a need that you have to fill yourself? There's not an app that exists to do what you want to do. For example, here's a fill your own need item. Just a quick glance at this shows me somebody came up with a brilliant idea to fix an annoying problem. So this is a magnetic wrist. And so it's just a Velcro strap that goes around your wrist and with magnetic plates in it. And you can glue all your nuts and bolts and screws and drill heads and even the pencil. So you've got yourself something like a pocket, but very much accessible, a one-handed use pocket. And so what a great idea. This person came up with a simple solution to a problem that annoys almost all of us. So I can see this as an invention for someone on their own needs, but then quickly spreads to everybody else. So what app would you build to fix a problem that you have and then only worry about finding customers later? Because if you like it, more than likely somebody else will. So if you're trying to find a niche, then think about improving what's already out there. So take a look at the landscape and see if you can fix it. So when you compare competitors, you're going to find features that are similar to apps that you would like to build. But is there somebody that has an app that is missing a feature? Or you see it in the user comments, for instance, in the reviews in the App Store. If only this app would. That is like free market research for you if you read through those comments and see what people would like the app to do that it doesn't. And so you find a gap there. It's called a niche. Also, you would find if people are being annoyed. So if advertising is becoming the best way for a certain app to make money, you can guarantee the users are going to be annoyed. Maybe you could come up with a replacement for it. You can sneak in on market share. And then you can figure out later how you can be the annoying advertiser. How about this? If you're looking for competitors, are you competing against Microsoft or Google? Or are you competing against a single programmer or a small team? So that'll tell you a lot about what your competition is up to. So there's only infinite resources at Google and Microsoft, so don't even bother if you're trying to reinvent Google Maps. Now, also think about updates. If you look in the App Store, you're going to see that some people build their app and then forget about it. So has it been 5 years since they've updated it? There is a niche. You could probably just walk right in, do an update to the current ad, and you can start picking off users. How about poor ratings? That's a pretty obvious sign that there's opportunities here. People have a need that is not being met. And there's your competition, red flag, to say, I'm going to step in here and fix a problem that people feel. But what happens if you look at your competition and they have good ratings? Well, that just tells you that it's free market research as well. That tells you what people like. And if you build a similar app, you better make sure that some of those features are for you. So back to Words with Friends. So if this is one of the most popular games in the world, then tell me this. When I look at the reviews, why in the world are all the reviews currently showing up as 1 star? And you look at it, it's all about the ads and about how annoying the program is to work with. And so people want to play this game, but they really don't like to play this version of the game. There's a niche. They're opening the door for competition. Here's another one. I've actually paid for this app many years ago because I wanted to have a good place to show podcasts. And so I probably wouldn't buy the app today because if you look here, you can see that most of the users are annoyed with it. Every time they do an update, something breaks. And so I don't know if a podcast manager is really a good app anymore because Apple and Google have pretty much taken care of that need right in their operating system. But if you wanted to build one, this one here would certainly be a good competitor to try to beat. So do your research. Come up with a chart and go through a bunch of competitors that you find that are similar to the app that you have in mind. And so you just put down a chart to compare. What's their popularity? What's their notable features? How do they monetize themselves? What's their company size? When did they last do their update? And what kind of reviews are they getting? And so when you have a comparison chart here, you're going to see perhaps opportunities arise. So this might become a large spreadsheet as you mine the data to find what you want. So make sure that when you're doing your comparisons that you're not trying to compete against the monster companies. Do similar apps that are about the same size and complexity as what you're doing. Learn from what they do well and then see if there are some opportunities where they leave the door open. So that's your ideal. So where are you going to find this information? So for Beyond Pod, I did a search there at Sensor Tower. And for this app, you can see that it's kind of a meh C- grade. So what's the competition for what you're trying to build? Go look at their ratings, go look in their app store, and then check them out here on Sensor Tower to see if there are opportunities for you to take advantage of. So that's some advice for how to do a niche. Now the next stage is to get some users together or potential users and ask them a lot of questions. It's called listening to the user. And so check this video out to see some advice on how you can do that well. If you'd like to see the entire playlist for all the lessons on the business of apps, then I'll put it here as a playlist.